Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike and Amy here. Garrett is back behind the ones and the twos, if you will, behind the
Howdy.
scenes. Got things worked out. Hey, buddy. How you doing, Amy? You look nice today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Coming to us live from somewhere, state capital, maybe?
Lansing, yes. I'm at the lovely Crown Plaza in Lansing.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't get much nicer than this. So that's where I'm
What's
at.
going on what's going on there? You working on some legislation I need to know about?
It's a work conference. We have them from time to time, but it started. I had a meeting this morning up here. I had a board meeting because I'm important like that. I had a board meeting.
Yeah.
And then this conference started at 2:00. There's like a networking thing tonight, and then it finishes tomorrow. I know.
Do you see the point in to me, I get it. Like I used to go on retreats. There was a morning show boot camp and Mark and I went a couple of years in a row, and it was down in New Orleans. Maybe there was one in Vegas.
Yeah.
And you'd go and you'd like connect with other morning shows around the country. And, so there was some sort of like networking that I never got shit from it. Mark and I would make total asses of ourselves running around the city, being drunk 20-year-olds, 20-somethings. And we'd get stories from it, but like it all seems like such waste to me in a world of Zoom and Restream, like whatever. Like it's so easy now. This idea of we need to have the team fly into some city and take over a hotel. It just seems so obnoxious, but people love doing it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain instances where it's not necessary. There's sometimes when it's beneficial, but when you're in sales, it's man, I got to tell you, it's probably my least favorite part of the job is the small talk at the networking events. It's just necessary. I can't stand it. It's so not me. I just don't like it. But I do get to, like in May, I'm going to Washington, D.C. For legislative, like we have legislative time on the Hill in Washington, D.C., which I find super interesting because I'm into politics. And so last year, we met with like Gary Peters and some other senators and Congress people. So like I find that stuff interesting because there's kind of like a purpose behind it. But just a networking thing for an hour with a shitty dinner is not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. It seems like overkill. I get it. Dave wants us to come to Dallas and do a show. And to me, like, that's like, I always prefer to be in the room with people, like always. Like to me, there's a need, like when you're just doing, like, it's not for public consumption. It's just a work meeting of some sort. Like, it just seems like so dumb and so wasteful and not financially smart. Like I totally get being in the room with people. It's been the hardest thing of doing this, not being in the room with people. Like there's just something so radically different about it. So I totally get like going to Dallas to do that show is way better than Zooming in.
For sure.
Like I mean, I don't need to explain, but it's just, there's just something, the physical connection is just off. You do the best you can, but it's like, I can't wait to like get human bodies around. There's just something about the conversation that flows so much easier and better and more natural.
I mean, you're not on a delay. You can have the best internet and everything in the world. It still has to travel through the airwaves. So there's going to be a 100%. Delay regardless of how hard you try to make it that there isn't one. So especially for something like this, being in the room together is preferable.
Yeah. There's even a hiccup in the normal world studio when if you start talking and someone else is talking, like it'll kill the mic almost. And you can plow through that and then it'll be like, oh, you really do want to talk instead of like interrupt it. I don't know what it's meant for, if it's meant to stop like yes and stuff like that, maybe. But there's something there that throws me off every time I've been there.
Oh, interesting.
It's a little weird. So every setup is a little different, but there's just, I don't know, man. I love being in the room with people and
Mike, it's so funny today. So I'm not friends with a ton of work people on social media, especially Facebook, because of the kind of stuff I post. The people who I am friends with either just know me, they know my personality, or I don't really care if they see what I say because it just doesn't
Right.
matter to me. So I walk out of this meeting today, and there's this guy sitting there who I'm friends with on Facebook, and he's like, "Hey, Amy," he's like, "You going to any Democratic, like meetings or conventions or anything anytime soon?" And and I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not." And he was like, "If there's one thing that's for sure, you'll never mistake Amy for a Democrat." And I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
glad that I have made that clear to you."
Yeah, yeah. It's funny to me to even hear you say that. Like, oh, for you, I don't mix the two for fear that people will put two and two together that because of what I post on social media and it's dangerous. And it's like, if you actually went through and read, which is, outrageous, the thought of actually like, well, what is this person saying?
Right.
Like, you would think you were putting down like, I mean,
Yeah.
under the banner of free speech, like, well, Hitler had some great points, man, and maybe
Yeah,
we should
right.
like. You would think there were really you could say the same thing about Candace Owens.
Mhm.
There's certain people that post stuff that's no doubt over the line, meant to gin people up or piss people off. Most of us have been guilty of that. I don't get that from. Like,
No.
it's more like I have such a problem with common sense. Fuck this
Yeah.
person, and you're
It's
just like,
really more so
okay,
that, again, because I am in sales, I don't wanna give any of my clients a reason to, like, not like me, you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
like, I just don't wanna I don't want that to be, because generally, I think most of them like me. So
Yeah.
I don't want it to give them a reason to be like, "I'm not gonna send her any business because she kinda
Yeah, or
sucks
have different
politically."
ideas, different
Yeah,
thoughts about like,
yeah,
make assumptions.
yeah,
That's the worst part, you know?
yeah. And
People are
then
like, "Oh, man, I used to."
when I walked into the conference, I walked up to one of my clients and she was like, "Hey, when are you running for public office? Because I'll, I'll volunteer for your campaign." I was like, "All right, I'll keep that in mind."
Yeah. No, I've said it to you many, many times. I've said it for
Yeah.
years, and, like, but the problem is I know exactly what they do to
Yeah.
you. They would, like, they would turn you into the squad version of, like, young, good looking. They would throw you with Lauren Boebert
Totally.
and like they would make you like the AOC of the right and
Yeah.
try to just, I mean, that's meant to discredit people.
Mhm.
Essentially, like, yeah,
And,
it's
like, I
sad.
can
It's
handle the
too bad.
negative comments from, like, I don't know, 100 people maybe. But, like, when to be on a huge stage where you're just constantly hearing horrible negative shit about you, like, I've got confidence, but I don't know that I've got that much confidence.
I think you do.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
honestly do. I wouldn't say that of everybody. I wouldn't even say that of me. I mean that. I've thought a lot about it because the fact of the matter is, when you get into this type of work, you want everybody to like you. There's something broken about people that put themselves out there, right? There's something broken about it where you're looking for acceptance from strangers, essentially. So if you get into morning radio, it makes sense. Those people are looking for some sort of approval from other. Am I funny? Am I good? Did you find that entertaining? Like, that's true across the board. And so what nobody, and Newberg struggles with this a lot in his posting. I see him struggle mightily with this. And I do too, to be honest with you, is that you get, like, you never set out to have half the people just dismiss you or hate you. Like,
Mhm.
you want the whole room to come together and like you. And you feel like you haven't changed. I haven't changed. Like, something is radically different out there. And how do you adjust to that? And trying to break through that, like, I give up. I can't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
What some lunatics got going in their life and how they're
Right.
gonna interpret stuff. You really have to almost get there, like,
Yeah.
okay, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah. For
You
sure.
can't cater, it was like I was saying yesterday, the amount of people that reach out, and God bless them. I welcome all your opinions.
Mhm.
I want to know what people think of anyone that's been here, but it's true, going back to, you know, J&E and Timco and K-Dog and Troy and Garrett, you like, yeah, Raj comes on for a show and I'll get people like, love this guy. I fucking hate this guy. I quit. I'm out. Fuck Garrett. You know, I love Garrett. Amy, like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like, that's
Mhm.
new. Like, I never remember hearing that on the Drew and Mike show. It was rare. You got a
Yeah.
message from anybody that was like, I'm out. You
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
like never. It's so weird.
Right.
It's really
People
an
think they are
adjustment.
entitled to your time and to give their opinion, you
Yeah.
know. It's like, just
Which
fast
is
forward, don't listen.
what
I mean, again, I don't care, like, but I think I don't mind, feedback from this audience is fine, feedback from the psychos on Twitter, but man, to be on, like, a national level and having just, like, everybody know who you are
yeah.
would be very difficult.
Yeah, you almost need to take the ghost and the post and ghost
Yeah,
approach, where
for sure.
you just go, "Hey, however people perceive this, great. For the
Yeah,
people that like it, great."
yeah.
And you just kinda leave it at that, you know?
Like Rogan is always saying, he's like, I cannot read shit about me because
No,
just fucks with your head.
it does. It does, 'cause I used to talk about all the time about and I was referring to email, where you get 500 emails from literally hundreds from people like, "Oh my god, I love you guys. I love this. I love that." And then there was one like, "What do you think you're Drew Lane? You fucking hack." And like that's the only one that read and go, "Wow, I guess I suck at that." Like it's
Right,
amazing how that works.
right,
500 to 1,
right.
But
It just makes you wonder what's going on in that guy's day. That day
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
obviously something.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um,
So,
I had I almost didn't get into the studio on time today. There
oh
was a
no.
DirecTV showed up um to do something like G has DirecTV.
Mhm.
And they had to run some and it's like in this studio, the one box, and because
Mm.
this is kind of middle of the house, and so it branches off. So for him
Sure.
to get clear
You have the
coverage.
box in your
Yeah, the box is up in here, but they
Mhm.
had to run there was a problem they had to fix, and it was like, of course, they show up at quarter to start time, 15 minutes before we
Right.
start. I'm like, dude, I got a hard out today, so you got to fucking get a move on. But I miss DirecTV so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think this. I know. What's his
Well,
name?
wait a second. So,
Yeah.
do you they don't let you have it on your
No, I
level where you're
could.
at? Oh,
No,
okay.
I could. In fact, they put it in my room, and I said, "Get it out of here. I
Oh,
don't
I
need
gotcha.
multiple." Because I use YouTube TV strictly for the football package.
Yeah.
Like as a 49ers fan, I needed it in Detroit, and as a Lions fan, I need it here because otherwise all the games wouldn't be televised. And so I was a loyal customer forever. But I just so miss the way DirecTV was set up with the guide, and
Mm.
when they got better and you're able to record 10 programs at once, it
Yeah.
was like the perfect setup. And now we're in this like I don't know where anything is anymore. I know it's
Yeah.
like a hacky bit, and what's his name? Bill Maher did a great take on it on last Friday's show, talking about
Mm.
things we didn't ask for, meant to make our lives better, that have really fucked things up. Are
Mhm.
you dealing with that too, where you're just like, I can't? Like, I have subscriptions to 100 things now. I never know
Yes.
where anything is.
Totally.
It's
Totally. It's
driving me
so
nuts.
annoying. It's so
Yeah.
annoying.
Anyway, it just reminded me of it because they were here hooking us up. And it's like, God, I almost just wish we could go back to the days of, well, at least I know where everything is. And
Right.
it was supposed to be cheaper. I wonder if what the next turn will be. I'd love for someone to send me an email, their thoughts, because I know people are way smarter than me. But this can't go on for much longer, where
Right.
I know it. It's universal. Everybody
Yes.
is frustrated with a Hulu account and a Hulu ESPN Plus account
Right.
and a
Yeah.
this
Yep.
account and a that and a Disney
Peacock
and an
and
HBO
yeah.
Max, and
Yep.
like it's overwhelming trying to keep passwords together,
I know.
trying to keep
They're
track
forever
of
getting
anything.
hacked.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to change passwords. So annoying.
My guess is that'll change. There'll be somebody will come with a fix where it's like we kind of go back to that where it's
I
cheaper
just
on some level. I
I
don't know
don't know
how,
how
but
we haven't gotten to a point where we can a la carte pick what we want. Like, okay, I want the sports package only. I want Netflix. I want Hulu. And like, it's all just offered together in one kind of package deal, and you have the same login, and you can get it on your TV, and people could still get Netflix or Hulu separately, but it seems to me like the cable companies would switch to some sort of a la carte model, because I have 150 channels I don't watch.
Yeah.
I watch like 2 channels, and I keep it for
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah, totally. I think the problem is they're paying all those, like, there's no reason CNN should be able to afford to pay $20 million for a personality when you have
Right.
a fractional amount of audience. Like, that shouldn't
Right.
be a thing, but it's
Right.
because of those packages where,
Yeah.
a few popular ones are carrying the rest. And
Totally.
I mean, I still want them there, like all those
Right.
channels, but I don't know.
I just watch YouTube now, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy. I
kinda do
watch
too.
such little TV.
Yeah. I do YouTube. Rumble is really
Yeah.
taken over for me.
Yeah.
Rumble's where it's at. Yeah. As far as
Has
videos,
Rumble gotten better?
yeah, it has.
Okay.
And it'll continue
I
to
don't
get
know.
better.
It was kind of bugging me at first. It wasn't super easy to use.
Yeah. I had issues with fast forward rewind. It's still not as good as YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think they'll get there. I think they
Okay.
will. And
Their
like, just
advertisements need help.
yeah, probably true.
The amount and the type of ads you get are the absolute worst thing ever. They're all scams.
Yeah, and maybe that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking of too. Like, whereas I have YouTube Premium, and so I just don't see ads. So to go over to Rumble and have ads, I'm like, no, I'm good.
I don't know. So many of them are doing ads, which I get. You're not. They've got to change that where blacklisted. They're more conservative leaning or right leaning. They're not woke. They're blacklisted from advertisers, which is why McDonald's isn't on there. Dunkin' Donuts. It's Black Rifle Coffee and My Pillow.
Right.
So that needs to change where you stop pandering to these people that bitch about everything and just go, where are the eyeballs? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You can love him or hate him. Dan Bongino has hundreds of thousands of people watching at any given moment, and you're not going to see Wendy's on there. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
No, like, it's not like big names like My Pillow and stuff. It's mostly the weird AI ads where it's like, the government doesn't want you to have this layer.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are what I get a lot of. And it's
You're
overwhelming.
100% right, Garrett. You're 100%. It's like the stuff you see on
They don't want you to know the
news
secret trick to
websites.
long life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clickbait.
Yeah, there's a lot of clickbaity bullshit, which you could fix really easily with actual products that you're selling. So I don't know. We'll see. I think enough people are noticing it, and someone will come up with a fix, but we'll see.
Just
the other thing in messaging that we've had over, which has just been insane, is this bullshit that hit this morning. The Democrat leaders caught reading from the same script in videos meant to oppose tonight's
State of the Union.
it's State of the Union, but I guess
is it a State of the Union?
It is, but it's addressed to Congress. I think they've called it over the years different things. Some have done this, so his is kind of an address to Congress.
Gotcha.
But dude, Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, those are the first ones I saw. It first happened with just a couple of them. It was like, oh, look, Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren got the same talking points. Here's one of them.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials is not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing, goose eggs, to lower prices for you. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who savagely beat police officers on January 6th.
So much.
That's an effing disgrace. He's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw to vital government programs and then, even worse, giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data. Social security numbers, tax returns, health care bills. He's fired thousands of essential workers, people who help our veterans get their benefits. People fighting Ebola in Africa.
We get the point.
So
Go to the next one. Go to the next one. which is Elizabeth Warren, Senator Booker. It doesn't matter.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices
that looks
down
familiar.
starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are up,
Oh my
not
God.
down. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The cost of groceries, gas, housing, even eggs is getting higher. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has done nothing to lower costs for you. Instead, he's pardoned violent criminals who beat police officers
I hate
on
these
January
people so much.
6th. He's letting
Go ahead and pause that, Garrett. Do you have the montage I sent you of the 22 senators? Just to show you how obnoxious this was this morning.
You know, someone from their social media team just walked through the hallway, walked into everyone's office and went, "Your turn. We're making your TikTok. Sit down. Here's the script."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Give me 1 second on the montage.
Okay.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day
Seen
one.
that clip
That
before.
ain't true. That's what you just saw. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency.
Don't you love
prices
that
are
too?
up, not down. Inflation
Like, who's
is
the best
getting
actor
worse,
here?
Not better. The prices of
Yeah.
groceries, gas, housing, rent, eggs, they're all getting more expensive. Meanwhile, Donald Trump
Same
has done
footage and all.
nothing to lower costs for you. Instead,
Mike, this
he's
is
done
why I
things like
can't be in
pardon
politics.
violent criminals who
Yeah.
beat police
Do you have that
officers
other
on
one, Garrett, the
January
montage?
6th. He's
Got it right
letting
here.
Elon
All right, you can kill that one. So this is, here you go.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That's what you just saw.
Okay. So that's
God.
22 of them. The users, Herona,
All the worst.
Lumenthal,
The
all,
worst.
yeah.
Gary
all-
Peters is down there in the left-hand corner.
There's Tim Kaine. Yeah, they're the usual suspects, all there. Now, when you look at this, it's weird. It's like they gave them talking points. Like, why are they all holding their microphone?
I'm telling you,
Like,
Mike.
what is that about?
I'm telling you that a social media intern, I mean, they're all their offices are all next to each other. And so a social media intern walked with that little microphone to everybody's office and was like, "Hey, we're doing this really cool thing where we all record this fun TikTok, and this was
Yeah.
the result." And if somebody walked into my office and did this, I'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. If I'm going to say something,
yeah.
I'll have an original thought."
And I know because like the Daily Show will play clips of Republicans doing something similar where they'll play a clip of name the Republican politician, and then they'll play another one, and it's like an hour later, and so there's obviously to me anyways, there's such a difference between messaging that you're looking to get out as a party and this. This is definitional propaganda. It's not messaging right there.
Right.
It's like these people, for the longest time you heard, oh, they don't know how to meme. And it's almost like this, like they haven't figured out how to do this. And do you have any thoughts on why that is?
Because they are not normal people. They're just not,
Yeah.
they don't know how to be normal. They think that this is normal, and it is so not normal.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It is so bizarre. And like, I couldn't
You can get rid of that, Garrett.
I couldn't put on a happy face and go to work with these people every single day. I
No.
just couldn't. Like, it would be so fake and so disingenuous.
Yeah.
They're so fake. I hate them. The gaslighting is insane.
The gaslighting is insane. It's just, I was reading this thing on Media Matters, Media Matters. So they're just going to keep media in check. Web-based, not-for-profit, 501c3, Progressive Research and Information Center, dedicated to comprehensively monitoring, analyzing, correcting conservative misinformation in the U.S. media, which is where this comes from, which is where a lot of this comes from.
Yeah.
Launched in 2004, Media Matters for America put in place for the first time the means to systemically monitor a cross-section of print, broadcast, cable, radio, and internet media outlets for conservative misinformation. Not misinformation. We're just looking for sometimes the conservatives did something wrong, and then we'll be able to point it out to everybody all at once.
Right.
any news or commentary that is not accurate, reliable, or credible, or we just don't like. Let's be honest. If we don't like it, that counts too. And that forwards the conservative agenda every day in real time, using the website MediaMatters.org as the principal vehicle for disseminating research and information. Media Matters posts rapid response items, as well as longer research and analytical reports documenting misinformation. Media Matters works daily to notify activists, journalists, pundits, and the general public about instances of misinformation, providing them with the resources to rebut false claims and take direct action against offending media institutions.
Yeah.
Which
I'd
is
love to know who
how,
funds them.
yeah. Oh, take a wild fucking guess.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what you're seeing there is probably something like Media Matters, like, ooh, okay, there's going to be a big thing tonight. We need everybody on point with the message. Like, that is so offensive to
It's
me,
so creepy.
anyways.
It's so
creepy.
cult-like.
Yeah. I mean, these people.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Amy. Go ahead.
Oh, no, please finish.
These people have speechwriters, every one of them, right? Like, these are elected national officials with speechwriters. So, like, you could easily have, like, I wouldn't have a problem if it's like, hey, make sure, when you're out there today, you want to touch on these 4 things. We think blah, blah, blah. And then you let your speechwriter put it into words, or you let people that talk for a living, are being on microphones and cameras, put something together themselves and be themselves, deliver themselves.
I'll tell you what, Mike. When I talked about it at the beginning of this episode, but when I went last year to Washington, D.C. for work for advocacy, it struck me how our government is run by a bunch of 22-year-olds who are who are the ones taking the meetings on behalf of the congresspeople, on behalf of the senators. They're the ones making recommendations. They're the ones communicating the issues of the people to the elected representatives. And it just strikes you as, oh, okay. So none of these people are actually like really doing anything. It's all based on these 20, 21-year-old, interns that are working for them. And this reeks of that. It's like some intern was like, this is going to be a really good idea. It'll go viral on TikTok if we all do this. And like, they've yet to bring in, and trust me, I saw all of them. They're all, they fit the mold of exactly who you'd think they'd be. They all look like Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, basically. And they have nobody normal in there. Like, you need somebody normal in there to go, what you got, your messaging isn't working. Yeah. It's not working. You need to not cater to all the weirdos. Otherwise, you're never going to win again.
Yeah. I don't know. You would have thought that would have happened by now. Like, that's the disturbing part. Like, how do you make Elizabeth Warren cool? You can't. You can't make Chuck Schumer cool. You can't make them Elon Musk flying rockets to space cool. Right. But, there is something to be said for being authentic to who you are. And it's like, you can have people that have experience and knowledge and history on their side and go plead their case on something. But this, where it's like AOC is going to sound exactly like Elizabeth Warren. Do you not know how the internet works? Like, this would work in districts back in the day. When you had control of a narrative, when you had control of an area, and it was like, whatever's going on. I used to talk about getting stories mailed to us. Oh, my mom found this story in the local newspaper in Oregon, and it'd be some outrage. Some guy fucked a sheep, and it'd be like, holy shit. That was the only way you knew about it, right? And I don't mean 100 years ago. I mean like 20 years ago. And so what you kind of focused locally, and your politicians spoke locally. Like, you didn't have, and you weren't meant to have, this kind of overreaching ability nationally. But it's like you haven't adjusted to the fact that that's reality. Like, that should be such an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Such an embarrassment. Like, what is this? This is George Orwell we're living.
100%.
This is 1984. How do you people not see that and understand how TikTok works, or Instagram or Facebook, whatever you're using? Like, this landed 2 of them landed this morning that I saw when I got up. Within 5 minutes, 3 of them were out there, and within an hour, 22 were there.
So
And it
embarrassing.
became a mockery of these clowns. Mockery. Like,
You know what? I hope they keep doing dumb shit like this.
I sort of do too. But
It's crazy.
there must be some level of winning, because I know there are people that I see them in my face. They so badly want to believe. They think so poorly of your current president that they're willing to. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so this is good enough. Give me some talking points.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of mass thrown out there. It's a losing formula. I got to warn them. It's a losing formula. You know, you're going to reach the fringes. Yep, you'll reach the fringes. The people that, you know, blue no matter who, I guess, if that's like a winning formula going forward. If this was being done on the GOP side, which I certainly more align with these days than I ever have before, I'd be so offended and embarrassed.
I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God.
So embarrassed. Like, this is so beyond the pale.
Yeah.
This is I don't know, man. It's just.
Mike, Garrett, I just sent you a photograph. Look at this photograph. If you could just zoom in on my face. This is me meeting Gary Peters when I was in Washington.
Is this a year ago?
I don't know. Yeah, this was a year ago. I don't know if you can zoom in on my face, but
No, it won't be.
I thought that I was smiling. And I thought I did not have a resting bitch face. And the look on my face in this photograph is like, what the fuck is this dude saying to me? And it was right then when I realized I can't do this for a living, because this would be people talking to me and I would have this look on my face 100%.
What were you taking issue with that he was saying? Do you remember?
Honestly, I don't even know. I just remember being like, don't look like a bitch. Don't look like a bitch. Don't look like a bitch. And then he had a photographer there, and I see these photos, and this is what I fucking looked like. I could not even believe it.
Yeah. Well, you probably disagree with him.
Well, I most certainly did. Did. There's no doubt about that. I sent it to you so you could zoom in on my face and see what it looked like, Mike. Because
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. I always thought, you know, you would hope anyways, like, becoming a politician requires some savvy, some marketable skills, you know, whether the way you look, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak. Like, I would think it would be like, hey, man, I'm full of shit 100% of the time, but you brought me here because I'm charismatic. I can spin a tale. Like, there's no fucking way. And if I found out, like, oh, okay, they just put this in front of me and they told me to sit down and read this thing, and then I found out they gave one to you and they gave one to every one of my friends identical. Like, I don't know, man.
Brutal.
It's just brutal. So we've got the speech tonight, which will be taking place here shortly.
What time does it start?
I think it's 7:00, maybe.
Okay.
Eastern time.
Okay.
My clock is all fucked up. So
I know.
Yeah, for a lot of people listening to this after the fact, that the speech is probably going on now, but whatever.
Gotcha.
So it's State of the Union, for lack of a better term. The Dems have a plan. They have a plan. So this I don't know how we get past this idea of posting cringe-worthy TikTok videos all in unison, or, you know, every time we're bummed about something, racing out to the street with a piece of cardboard and wood to march in unison together to show a united front,
Right.
or this stuff where there's something like those moments happen in life where something disruptive happens at the MTV Awards or the Oscars, and they're newsworthy. And it's like, you're trying to build on that almost. Like, what are we going to do? For starters, you don't plan something like that. Like, if something happens because it happens, like, so just heads up for tonight. Some members have told colleagues they may walk out of the chamber when Trump says specific lines that they find objectionable. Well, you find everything that comes out of his mouth objectionable. So,
Right.
Look for that. There could be a mass exodus. Just know that it's planned. He hasn't said anything yet, but they've already planned to be outraged and storm out. Some will do that.
Good.
So look for that. There could be some props on hand. They've discussed. We don't know what they're going to go with, so just be heads up if you're watching tonight. Some noisemakers. I don't know if that would be a whistle.
What fucking children, man. Jesus. You're
Signs.
elected officials.
Yeah. Yep. Signs with anti-Trump or anti-Doge messages. Okay. Hand clappers. Are those the little things that?
Yeah.
Is that what a hand clapper is?
Yeah.
Red cards. Oh, so is that like soccer? You hold up a
Yeah.
red card.
Mhm,
Oh, that's a good
mhm.
one. Hope they do that. And we'll make sure we
Yeah.
get all. And then you'll see the shit media all turn around in unison and snap
Yeah.
1,000 pictures all at once.
Yeah.
We've got our front page picture. Look at these outraged people with their red cards and hand clappers.
Yeah. What's going to work?
Ugh.
It's not going to work out well for them, though, because red is our color. So
Yeah.
that's going to backfire.
Do you think
Yeah.
it'll look like the Serbian parliament today? Have you seen those videos?
No.
Oh, I did. Oh, my God. That was, dude.
It's really quick. It's going crazy over. This is what they're expecting over here, right? There's noisemakers, whirly things, hand clappers.
If they had it their way, yes.
Someone needs to just fucking torch the whole building with all of them in it. Some are considering, heads up for this too. This will be a good one. This will probably get the message through to constituents and the American people at large. They're thinking about coordinating their clothes by colors to protest. So,
Oh, they should be like the Ukrainian flag.
yeah, that's one of them. That's one
Yeah.
of them. So the the Democratic Women's Caucus. I'm so glad there's not a men's caucus. Like, I'm so glad. It's so embarrassing for your
embarrassing.
gender. I'm sorry.
I know.
But the Women's Caucus, their members are going to wear pink.
How about that? That is
people.
super original. Love
Yeah.
that. For them.
Female members of the Congressional Black Caucus, on the other hand, are not going to wear pink. Guess what they're going to do?
Wear black.
Yeah. How did you know? Did you read this in advance? Yeah, they're going to
it's
dress
just
all
me.
in black, like it's a funeral. Ukraine supporters might show up wearing blue and yellow.
Mm, Go blue.
Again, if I was there, I would hand out like forms for them to sign up to show real support.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Like, seriously.
yeah.
Fuck that,
Yeah,
I'm showing up like Elton John to support the gays.
Some Democrats have announced that they are bringing formal federal employees as their guests. Oh, the ones that lost their jobs. We're going to show up with them as arm candy to
Wanna
show
know
these
what I'm
poor,
not gonna
poor
do?
civil servants that got terminated.
Want to know what I'm not going to do if I ever get terminated from my job? That is go to their conference and hear them speak. I will not be doing that
Yeah.
because you no longer employ me. So I don't like why? Why? You're just torturing yourself?
Yeah, can you imagine being
I
used?
thought
as
I read, is
prop?
AOC going? I thought I read that she's not going.
Oh, some of them might do that too. I still
Children.
think the Nancy Pelosi tearing up the thing is one of the most offensive things I've ever seen.
Oh, she's so
and one of those-
gross.
Like
Hate
it was
her.
kind of the kickoff at the time to this kind of nonsense.
that cunty clap
Yeah.
that she
yeah.
did, right behind him, like just super, super bitchy.
Yeah. That was the first one that kind of, in my recollection, like we had a certain standard that we weren't like Serbia, where we're lighting off colorful fire rock. Like there was some level of that. Like, okay, at the end of the day, in these chambers, this is how you conduct yourself. Okay, fine. We don't clap. We don't whatever. But this one was the one where it was like, oh, okay, everything's gone out the window. This is
I hate
how
her.
history. Yeah. It's one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen.
And they all wore white
personally.
that day.
Yeah. I thought this was interesting. A comment from Mike Richardson on Twitter. For all the congressional members that are boycotting Trump's address tonight, you are just showing Americans who you really are. Being a Trump hater is the only idea you have. I would say the same thing to Republicans boycotting a Joe Biden address to Congress.
Yeah.
How about you show up, debate ideas, be a diplomat, find compromise, and be a staunch representative for your constituents. Staying home is lazy and completely useless.
It's literally your job. You're paid
Yeah.
to do that. And if you can't do your job, you shouldn't get paid you shouldn't get paid, and you shouldn't have that
Yeah.
job. Like, you're not always going to like your boss. Sometimes
No.
you just got to suck it up and go to work and deal with it.
Yeah.
Who's the
it's,
designated survivor tonight?
I don't know. Do they announce that?
I don't know.
Do they usually announce who the
But
designated
ever since
survivor
that
is?
show came out, I'm just always interested in finding out. And it's always usually
Yeah.
somebody super boring,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, Secretary of the Interior or whatever the fuck, like just something random. I just
Yeah.
find that kind of interesting though. Like, there's just this one dude or chick that's off somewhere else in case
Mhm.
they all get blown up, and then that's just our elected representative.
Yeah, we
Like,
start over with her.
yeah, right.
Hopefully it's Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
He
Like,
seemed
seems
like a decent dude.
we should be able to vote on the designated survivor.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, that was a weird show. I didn't watch that until like a year ago. I'd never seen
Oh,
it.
really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Kiefer.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know who that'll be tonight, but just, the point of even bringing it up is just heads up. It's already been pre-planned, what they're going to do. And this is just, it's toddler-esque. It's elementary school type behavior. It's tantrumy. But I really hope they, it's just wild to me that John Fetterman's the only one making any fucking sense these days. I never thought I'd see that day.
Yeah, right.
But, I disagree with him vehemently, and that's fine on a lot of things. But, to act like we don't have common ground on certain things, like Trump is doing exactly what he ran on, which is why no one is continue. What are you doing over there? Is she losing her signal? What are you doing over there?
Me? I'm not doing anything.
Is that you moving your
No,
picture
I haven't
around?
touched anything.
No,
No,
I don't think I was doing anything.
Yeah, you were. You were like
Oh.
moving you paused and I don't know.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
Well, I am on hotel Wi-Fi, so.
There you go. Are you paying
You know.
for it though? Are you paying for it or are you getting the super cheap shit?
Yeah, I think I just got the super cheap shit. I'm if I didn't mention it, Mike, I'm at the Crown Plaza in Lansing.
Yeah. Crown
So I
Plazas
don't-
are nice, aren't they? Isn't Crown Plaza decent?
Well, I do have one of the updated rooms, which is nice. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's a Crown Plaza in Lansing. I don't know that they have paid for Wi-Fi.
Yeah, okay. All
It's
right.
just the free stuff.
I think it's the Hilton I stay at in Dallas. Is it Hilton? Hold on.
Yeah, I mean,
But
if it's
they've
a
got-
Hilton, it's
It's a
They'll
Hilton
have it.
Honors, yeah.
yeah.
It's decent. It's decent.
Totally.
I've stayed
Yeah.
at the same place 3 times.
Yeah.
Drew's place was dope. When we did the show, we were getting ready to start, and it was like we were on Drew's Wi-Fi, whatever. And then there was an option to buy it for the day for $20
Yes.
or something.
Yeah.
Drew's like, fuck that, we're buying it. He
I
didn't
guess
care.
I was on I had this vision of you and Drew sharing a room down in Dallas. That's not
No.
what was happening, right?
No, Drew was at some 5-star fucking dope ass. No, he was 25 minutes from me. He had he doesn't want me talking about it. He had a pretty sick fucking room.
I was like, are they in an Airbnb together? Because like when you sat down
No.
to do that show, I was just like, gosh, are they staying together?
No, I Ubered to his hotel, which
Mm.
is like where the teams were staying for the
Sure.
bowl
sure.
game. Like,
Yep. Yep.
he made a trip out of it. So-
Townsend.
what's that? Yeah. He's a
Yeah.
Townsend guy. So
Yeah.
think along those lines.
Right.
So yeah. So no, I went over there, but all I had was this camera like I have here. Or no, actually I had my iPad. So all I had was
Okay.
the camera shot on my iPad. And so it was like, Drew, get closer to me. And we're like on top of each other. And then it split us like this is doing. It split the screen. So
Yeah.
it looked like maybe we were in 2 different places, but no, our knees were touching. And which creeps me out big time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Hilarious. Where do we stand on Keith Olbermann these days?
Dude, that is the most broken man
Yeah.
quite possibly ever.
Mhm.
He is so unhinged. It's insane.
Is he the most unhinged? Can you think of
Top 5 for sure. Top 5.
100% top 5? I would say top 3, but I'm trying to think
Yeah.
if there's anyone else.
There's like some bot type people, like, you know, like Democrat influencers who I'm not totally sure that they're actually real people,
like
but that
Brian
tweet out
Krasenstein, Ed,
exactly like those
like
2 little
them.
midgets. Yeah,
Kanye
like
West.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Dad is another one. Like they're so unhinged, but Keith is the one who he was in the public eye. He had a career. I mean, we all watched him on ESPN and
Oh,
Sports
yeah.
Center, and he was like a normal dude. And he has just hating Trump is his whole identity. His
Yeah.
whole identity. It's
Well,
fucking crazy.
I one of the reasons that I moved out here was, and I'm being dead serious. One of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons was I was terrified of becoming Keith Olbermann. And I swear to God, I did not. You don't want to be like, this is what you get when you have someone that pays attention a lot, is trying to be as up on what's going on in media circles, which I'm doing, right? I'm doing this, whether I'm here with you or not. I am tucked away somewhere feverishly going through the world and what's going on. That's like Keith's existence. I can relate to that. He's in his 60s now. I don't know how old he is, 62, 63. He's in his 60s, never married and no kids. And so you have someone, it was like, without any sort of real family to like disconnect with and do real things, that's where I was headed, where it's you either go down a road of just drinking to excess and driving yourself crazy, or you wind yourself up all day and you don't have a partner there or your kids to pay attention to, and you end up becoming this. You know, it used to be a crazy cat lady, you know?
Yeah. Get off my lawn, guy.
Yeah. And so Keith is like that. I looked at Keith and it was like, fuck, dude. I know you're not going to get married. I know you're not having kids, but you can't be Keith Olbermann. You can't. Like, you better get around some people that really do give a shit what you're doing, invite you to things, want to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, keep you in check with your thoughts sometimes, you know, where I can kind of get off and get into a bad space. And it's like, you better have people there that actually, you know, are going, hey, slow down, man. Let's go grab a beer. And, you know, and that's what you're seeing with Keith Olbermann is a lot of money, penthouse overlooking Central Park or New York City, wherever he's at. And, you know, it ends up getting to this point. Garrett, do you have the video of the one? I think it's COVID. Yeah. Just for an example, if people aren't paying attention.
Trump can be and must be expunged. The hate he has triggered, the Pandora's box he has opened.
Pause for a sec, Garrett.
Will not be so easy.
This isn't new. This is just an example going. There's news relating to him today, but this is just an example of Keith and his, you know, this is in his home on a balcony by himself, you know, doing his little show here. This is during COVID when Trump was elected and, you know, all that. But go ahead.
Easily destroyed. So let us brace ourselves. The task is twofold. The terrorist Trump must be defeated, must be destroyed, must be devoured at the ballot box. And then he and his enablers and his supporters and his collaborators and the Mike Lees and the William Barrs and the Sean Hannitys and the Mike Pences and the Rudy Giulianis and the Kyle Rittenhouses and the Amy Coney Barretts must be prosecuted and convicted and removed from our society while we try to rebuild it. And to rebuild the world Trump has nearly destroyed by turning it over to a virus. Remember it, even as we dream of a return to reality and safety and the country for which our forefathers died, that the fight is not just to win an election, but to win it by enough to chase, at least for a moment, Trump and the maggots off the stage, and then try to clean up what they left. Remember it, even though to remember it means remembering that the fight does not end November 3rd, but in many ways,
Yeah,
will
you
only
get the point.
begin.
That is, it's almost just sad to see. Like, he's talking about putting Sean Hannity in prison.
It's fucking broken. So
Like,
broken.
that is so unhinged and so, like, are people checking on you? Like, and I'm being dead serious. Like, Keith was always a smug, like when he was doing Sports Center with Dan Patrick back in the day, you could tell how he's probably Ivy League educated. I don't know where he went. You know, if he was a Columbia grad or a Brown grad or something, would make sense. He always had kind of a smug air to him, even during those shows. But he was a talented, you know, deliverer of the news, funny. Those shows were really well produced and well done and very popular back in the 90s. But that is just cartoonishly sad.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it really is. I hate that guy.
Yeah. I almost feel bad for him. Like, it's just,
I don't.
yeah, I probably shouldn't either, but it's just it's so bad and so unsafe. Like, that guy, that's someone that could show up with a fucking automatic weapon at a softball, a softball practice for the Republican team. Like, seriously, thinking he's the hero that's going to save the Republic. Like, that's the kind of attitude he has.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I want this to happen, or nor am I encouraging it to happen, but I wouldn't be
Careful.
surprised if that dude ended his own life at some point.
Yeah.
He's just going to be so lonely, and he's going to work himself up into such a kind of, I guess, along the lines of what you just said. Like, there's going to come a point sooner rather than later, Trump's going to be gone
Yeah.
from office, and he will have no other identity.
Yeah. Well, he's gone after Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee. Let's play, Garrett, the clip of Pat at the wrestling event. And Pat took great offense at being the national anthem being booed.
Yeah.
WWE has ever had. Kind of sucks that it's in the terrible country of Canada that booed our national anthem to start this entire thing. But it's going to be a historic night for the WWE on the road to WrestleMania. Let's get underway with
it. So, for context there, and I think context always matters, he's announcing a fucking wrestling event.
Correct.
Live on television.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not a big fan of wrestling. I was when I was a little kid, I guess, a little bit. Loved, the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan and some of that stuff, but I haven't paid attention for many, many years. I have plenty of friends who do, and shit talking is kind of part of it. Like, that's what they do. There's a lot of shit talking, a lot of bluster, a
lot of hyperbole.
Yeah, and a lot of hype in general. And so that strikes me as just like, hey, you're going to boo my country and my flag, and you're on a double. Like, I don't think that would be the response at an NFL game, I guess is my point. Maybe it would. Maybe it would. Keith Olbermann.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I mean? Maybe you would. And like, this is a terrible country. Like, no, that's what Vince McMahon would want you doing. And like, you take your heroes, you build them up, and only to fucking turn them evil and turn them into a heel. And like, that's the gig.
Right.
And Pat McAfee does a good job of that. I'm not a huge Pat McAfee fan, but he's fine. He was fun to watch as a punter. Like, he was badass as a punter. You know,
I like McAfee a lot. He's got a great show. He's figured it out. And I actually tend to watch his alternative streams for like big games. They'll throw McAfee and his crew on the sideline of the national championship, and they do an alternative stream. I tend to turn into his because he just talks like a normal person, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I really like Pat.
Yeah. I remember when his show was small before ESPN. And then when they got the ESPN contract, and I was blown away by the numbers they were talking money wise.
Yeah.
Like, it still doesn't make sense when I don't know, not to get on a side rant, but this idea of paying $85 million, $100 million, $200 million contracts to these shows is so insane. But whatever, I guess they're able to make that work. But Pat McAfee has clearly figured it out, and where that's kind of going, and they do a good enough job. And you can swear a little bit, and it's it's more
they've got
realistic.
a disclaimer before every episode, that to their ESPN bosses, like, P.S. don't sue us.
Keith Olbermann tweeted out today, "A lot of us tried to warn the new ESPN management that the day would come when this idiot would draw them into a permanent political controversy, and they could either be subsumed by it or fire him. That day is today. Fire him."
Keith, you're not getting your job back, my guy.
Yeah.
Not
Sorry,
gonna
buddy.
happen. They're also not firing Pat.
No.
He's made that very clear. When controversies have happened with Aaron Rodgers, he reports to, like, Bob Iger.
Yeah.
That's the head of Disney, right?
Yeah. It's a 5-year, $85 million deal.
Yeah. Like, Pat McAfee doesn't report to anybody.
Yeah.
He could go above everybody at ESPN and go right to Disney.
And the fact of the matter is, those threats are hollow. Keith wants to live in a world where if we get out there and picket, they'll be forced to address us. If we wear pink shirts, they'll hear us. Like, he believes in that machine that can just silence the mere threat of us going public and telling you how we feel. We can get people fired. We can make them lose their livelihood. Go ahead, ESPN.
Yeah.
Blow out Pat McAfee. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
If you think Pat McAfee, hey, the groundwork was laid years ago when you kicked everybody off and said, build your own if you don't like, they did.
Yeah.
They don't need you anymore. The fact is, the first thought I had when he signed on to do the ESPN deal simulcast on ESPN, I went, why? What do you need ESPN for? You don't fucking need ESPN. Like, okay, whatever. They're going to cling to life.
The game without it.
Yeah. Who's more valuable, ESPN and their fucking women's college basketball highlights, or what Pat McAfee and his crew are putting together? The
only reason that ESPN has any value is because they have the rights to those games, and that's the literally the only value that they have. And if ESPN were to fire McAfee, Dave Portnoy and Barstool would be waiting to pick up the pieces.
Yep, 100%.
And so this crazy though is, like, McAfee still streams on YouTube under his own channel his full show, so you don't have to watch it on ESPN. You can.
No, and you know what's interesting about that is, if you think for 1 second that ESPN would not try to sign an $85 million deal and get the exclusivity on it,
right?
You're nuts,
right?
And Pat McAfee was in a position to go,
no.
I retain my product. I retain all NIL for my shit. You want to simulcast it and promote it? Go ahead.
Right.
He doesn't need them any more than Dave Portnoy would need them.
Right.
No, that's not.
Right.
It's not whatever fantasy land Keith Olbermann is living in. The day has come. Fire him. Okay. You realize that would probably make him twice as popular and even bigger. Go ahead.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead. So there's a follow-up video too. And Pat McAfee explains himself. I think he apologizes a little bit for taking a shot at Canada. Do you have that video there, Garrett? We can watch it.
Listen, there's been some things said to me from Canadians that I guess I respect because of the passion that you have for your country, which I hope you understand that I was showing the same for mine. You booed my country. Now, I heard from a lot of Canadians during the national anthem, obviously, the Rogers Center, overwhelming boo. I mean, very loud boo. First reaction whenever national anthem starts up there was for some of these Canadians just to start booing. And I'm like, what? Okay. My entire life, my first reaction when somebody boos the national anthem is, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, that is I'm very thankful that I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States of America. I'm very proud that I am from the United States of America. And is everything perfect? Absolutely not. But my dad went from being a truck driver to a millionaire because he taught his son a work ethic and that anything is possible on this land here in the United States. Now, I know that we're not the only country that has that happen, but in my life, that is the case. I've also moved out here to Indiana and got a chance to meet a lot of military members. I've been to a lot of bases. I know Gold Star families. I know people that have been affected for fighting for our country that really see the national anthem as like hey, this is our shit. So anytime I've ever heard somebody boo our national anthem, my natural reaction is, let's fight. That is literally my natural reaction. Now, a lot of Canadians have told me, why don't you do a little investigating on why we're booing? Okay, did you hear what your president said? Okay, listen, I understand there's political differences at the current moment between us and Canada. But I feel like anytime I think of Canada, I don't think of what Justin Trudeau does. I don't think immediately of Justin Trudeau's decisions. I don't think immediately of what Canada is doing in the political sphere. I think of the people of Canada. I think of Gumpy. I think of Poutine. I think of the magical times that I had up in Niagara Falls as a teenager at the Wild Mushroom, the old casino, the new casino. Let's not even talk about the adult ballets that maybe introduced me to a lot of things in life. I think about loonies and toonies and good times and Mounties allowing teenagers puke in their streets because maybe we're a little bit overserved. That's what I think of when I think of Canada. I don't think of Justin Trudeau. Okay, so I understand now from the Canadians that they have a lot more passion for their country than I could have ever imagined. A lot of terrible things have been said about me, and I understand it. You boo my country, I called your country terrible. Let's shake hands, okay? You said you didn't boo every member of the United States or every citizen of the United States of America. Well, I didn't say the Canadians are terrible. I said your country was. So you booed us. I said you're terrible. Let's shake hands. Let's move along.
There you go. There you go.
That's what I would like to say. And I still love Canadians. Okay.
All right. Good enough. Yeah, dude. That is a great way to put it. I feel the same exact way. I know for a fact there are people right now in Canada listening to the show. They'll probably write me. That there's no doubt that, like, and put some respect on it. Okay. He's Prime Minister blackface.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
When I think of Canada, unfortunately, lately, you think of Prime Minister blackfaced and the destruction that he has caused that nation, the great people of Canada. I feel the same as him. When you're a 19-year-old in Metro Detroit is when you get your fake ID or you borrow your brother's or sister's older sibling and you truck over to Canada and hang out in Windsor in the casinos. The titty bars were fully nude. Don Cherry's, going and hanging out at Don Cherry's, Windsor Music Cafe, Mother's Pizza, getting absolutely hammered and then coming back under the tunnel or over the bridge back into Michigan. And, as long as you weren't fucking puking on yourselves, they were like, nah, get out of here, you.
Yeah.
They were usually pretty cool if you could kind of fucking play it cool. And they knew you were an underage Michigander who was going and partaking a bit in the Windsor Casino or in one of the bars, hanging out at titty bars, going to Leamington on weekends and chilling at the beach and playing volleyball, or going up to Troy's Cottage and golfing and jumping in the lake. And like, dude, that's what I think of with Canada. I think of the people in Canada that, Beth and I went over there and met a listener, ran into a listener who happened to own a winery and gave us this amazing tour. The people are the friendliest in the world, sent us home with bottles and bottles of wine from a nice winery. I wish I could remember the name of it now in Canada. It's fucking amazing. It's amazing. But what's gone on that I'll never get over the trucker convoy stuff. No, that's inexcusable to Americans. Inexcusable. Right. The Keith Olbermanns of the world would like to think that that's okay. Like, hey, no, that is not okay. And booing the national anthem, that comes with consequences too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can do it. You're free to do it. But Pat McAfee is able to go, fuck off.
Yeah, we're going to call you, say you're a terrible country.
Yeah. And I feel the same way. I love my Canadian brethren 100%.
And like, we don't want Canada, just to be clear. Like, we want you to be your own people. We want you to be your own country. Like, that it's good the way that it is. But when Mike Myers wears shirts that say Canada isn't for sale, I just can't help but think, like, my guy, we're not saying it was for sale. We were
Yeah.
like, you thought we were gonna buy you? No, 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 no. That's
Yeah.
not what was
Yeah.
gonna happen.
No. That wasn't what was going to happen. You were going to become the 51st state, not purchased.
Correct. And
We
it
talked
was
about
not gonna
purchasing
be via
Greenland.
purchase. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're getting things confused. We were talking about taking back Panama,
Right.
buying Greenland, and making you the 51st.
And adopting you, essentially. Mike, have you seen the Stephen A. Smith on The View?
No, I can only imagine.
He was on there today, and I sent Garrett a clip. It's like a minute and a half, and he just bodies them.
Real in a good way?
Yes.
I'm starting to think this must be a joke or a bit. Like, the part of the resistance is to have these old birds on here just saying like the most unhinged things they can and try to outdo each other. Like almost like that's the show game plan, because I'm sure there's some basis in reality of something, and then they've fostered that, watered it, and created it into something that doesn't exist, and then presented it. But so I'm interested to see.
Well, nobody watches The View as like a listener. Their only hope is to go viral with clips like this. So I do think that there is a conscious effort to just say the dumbest shit possible so that the conservative channels cover you and people are just watching you.
Let's check it out.
In office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever, and he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
What's a different definition of a mandate, I guess?
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that. Don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
Oh, yep, that's bodied.
Yep.
All right. Yep. No doubt about it. Part of me goes, I hope they stay there doing the same thing. Keep doing it. Keep getting 500 people to go out and have your cardboard signs and do your little elementary school art project. Go, no one voted for this. Like, keep doing it.
Yeah. Boy,
the rest of the people are laughing.
They weren't
What's
expecting. They weren't expecting that answer out of Stephen A. Smith. They thought he was friendly fire.
Yeah. Well, they're very careful with who they invite on now.
Right.
Like Ben Shapiro used to be able to be on there. He used to be on CNN.
Yep.
Glenn Greenwald used to be a popular guest on some of those shows. Welcome on Bill Maher's show. It's not safe to do anymore. And so they probably thought they had a popular teammate in Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. I can't figure out, I don't
think he voted for Trump.
Yeah, he claims he didn't, but who knows? I'm convinced Biden did.
Biden
was way
definitely
too
did.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. Like, just as I don't even know why. I don't think he was interested in his VP taking over. So I could believe that. Stephen A. Smith, I don't know. Maybe he likes being in that category of going, I didn't vote for this, and thinks that gives him like, hey, his bona fides to be on that team. Whereas if he announces that he voted for Trump, that takes him off that team somehow.
Yeah, he would never admit to voting for Trump. He's just too engrossed in the woke culture of the NBA and ESPN. He would never admit that. But I generally find, and this is just anecdotal, I don't have any evidence of this, but I generally find if you can say,
Uh-oh. I wanted to hear that. There she is.
there we go.
If you can say something nice about...
If you can say something nice about Donald Trump, you could vote for him. It's the people who could not say anything nice, couldn't think that he was going to do anything good, who absolutely would not vote for him. And it just strikes me, leading up to the election, he was saying too much negative about Kamala and positive stuff about the Republicans that it would shock me if he was saying all that when in the booth privately and voted for Kamala Harris. I just would be surprised, but he would never admit that. And I get it.
Yeah. That's a tough one with him. I think it's weird. It kind of falls along the lines of the reporting Candace Owens has done on the Macrones. And I'll explain. Where you don't have any sort of existence of a life before age 12 for Brigitte Macron, that kind of thing. Some of the work that Jason, what's his name, who went to war again, the black guy used to be on Fox Sports. He works for Blaze Media. Jason Whitlock. Some of the reporting Whitlock has done on Stephen A. Smith, and like, I don't think this guy played college basketball. I've seen him shoot. I've seen him dribble. Like, and where are his former teammates? There's no photos of him. Like, that's at least intriguing. Like, that would be too easy. It's Candace Owens' main point. Like, it's too easy to go, I gave birth to these 3 children of ours. Yes, that is me in that photo. You know, like, it's too easy to just like end it all. And but to have like no existence and no proof, like anybody that played sports on even a high school level at Stephen A. Smith's age would have a shitload of photos with your buddies hanging out. Like, I have those from my years of playing soccer and baseball. Like, those exist.
And somebody would have come out and been like, yeah,
I remember him. He was, he was our point guard. He was our shooting guard. Like, that's too easy. And so, he can call Jason a fat bastard all he wants, but what he doesn't seem to want to do, which is peculiar to me, is go, here I am with, Dwight and Steve on a Friday night after practice at the local whatever. Like, there's something there that seems off and weird. But I don't know. My guess is if he were to run for public office, like he's threatened, people would dig a little deeper into that stuff. So I don't know. But so I don't know what to make of him. Sometimes he sounds like he gets it. And what I often say, and I think you would agree, is once you see it, you can't unsee it.
100%.
Like, once 100%. You see the corruption, it's hard to not like go, oh shit, it's over all of it. Oh my God, this is way worse than I thought. And so he sort of like sees it clear as day in some respects and then acts like he doesn't in others. And it's like, I don't know how he's getting there.
Yeah, I know.
That's the troubling part with him. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, Lord knows he can be about as insufferable as anybody. So I don't want to give him too much credit, but he did do a good job in that segment.
He certainly was during the Black Lives Matter era. We are
watch it.
We are running out of time. I wanted to do this story though. You were a big fan of Friends, right?
I wasn't a huge Friends person, but I've watched reruns. But it was a little bit before like my time. I was still kind of a youngin' when Friends was out.
Yeah, there's a couple episodes. Steve Park was a guest on that show. Asian dude.
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
And he's talking now about how toxic it was.
I reckon.
I love these people. Yeah, he sounds like an activist, to be honest with you, that is trying to squeeze something in. He got candid about guest starring on a 97 episode. I think he was on a 96 episode as well, claiming the set was a kind of toxic environment. He starred on 2 episodes, season 2, episode 23 and 96, titled The One with the Chicken Pox, which is arguably one of the worst episodes of Friends ever done. I think Charlie Sheen was the boyfriend of Phoebe in that one.
Yep.
And he had chicken pox, so he's got the oven mitts on and he can't touch her. You know, something along. There's a couple storylines in that show that are just stupid, and this dude was one of them, if you ask me. That one, and in 97, season 3, the one with the Ultimate Fighting Champion, which starred Jon Favreau.
Okay.
Which was a storyline for a few lines when Phoebe's boyfriend, or not Phoebe's, but Monica's boyfriend wanted to become an Ultimate Fighting Champion. And it followed this storyline of him getting his ass kicked repeatedly in the octagon. Kind of a weird thing, off kind of the beaten path for what that show is. But he was apparently, this Parks guy was on both of those. He shared while on set, he overheard a crew member use racist language to refer to another guest on the show, an actor named James Hong, who's like a 95-year-old guy now. So he must have been an old Asian dude on the show. The unnamed crew member called Hong to set, essentially going, "Where's the Oriental guy? Can someone get the Oriental guy?" Which would have been a 60-some-year-old man now. He's 96.
Yeah.
This spurred Park to take action. He filed a complaint with the Screen Actors.
Wait. I was waiting for you to say the issue was that he said Oriental.
Yeah, the Oriental guy. Anyone know where that fucking Oriental guy is?
Are they not Oriental?
Asian, but that's I think what this
I thought
comes
that
down
those
to.
words were synonyms. Are they not?
No, Oriental. I think the problem with Oriental, I've had it explained to me before. If I get this right, it's multiple things, but Oriental is like a rug, like an object. You would say,
Okay.
So we are not objects. That's one argument. There's multiple, but I did find an article from years ago from an Asian woman who I think is way more right. But so he called the Screen Actors Guild about what happened. The person I spoke with recommended I write an article in the LA Times. This is bigger than this show. This isn't the first time this has happened. But this is the environment where it's business as usual in Hollywood in 1997. Nobody felt the need to correct this or say anything about it. So this was normal behavior. This is adorable. I remember Clark used to say Oriental on the air. His dad used to be like, "Jesus Christ, Mike, these fucking Orientals are all over Chinatown," like whatever. And I have this vivid memory of Drew on the air going, "I don't think you're allowed to call him that anymore," or something along those. And Mike was like, "What?" Like he didn't know. And it was like, we would just kind of roll our eyes like, Clark's being inappropriate again. He called them Orientals.
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize. I'm with Mike. I didn't realize that was a negative slur.
Yeah, this caused him to take a step back and drop out of acting. So,
Good.
smart. Yeah,
Good for him.
But
I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that he was a shitty actor.
Yeah, and I think I remember him being decent. He was fine. He was a decent Asian dude, whatever. I have a feeling there was more going on. But if this is the level of like, this just can't go on in Hollywood of all places,
right?
Like of all the things we know about Hollywood and all the things we don't. Okay, let's be crystal clear. There's so many things you don't know about the underbelly of Hollywood. This is what set you off. Some crew member, not on camera, was just like, "Where's the?" Which you could totally see at the time.
Yeah.
Matthew
Perry is like doing every drug under the sun in the bathroom, and you're just fucking crying about this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, dude.
You could totally see in the hustle and bustle of, we're filming this set on this set in front of a live audience in the girls' apartment. The guys were like, shift everything, cameras roll.
Yeah.
Over here. Where's the Oriental guy? We're going, 5, 4, like it's just hilarious that you've taken.
I'm obviously making it a goal of mine to mention Karen Reed in every episode that we do, but this reminds me of the first Karen Reed trial where they were interviewing they were he was on the stand, one of the guys that was in the house, and the neighbor of that guy is Asian. And so they got the guy that was in the house, they got his text messages, and he drives by the crime scene and one day, and they're out there looking for pieces of tail light, and he texts the rest of the people that were in the house that says they're in front of the Asian house.
Ooh.
And there were like 2 Asians on the jury. So the defense attorney goes, "What do you mean by that?" And he was just like, he's like, you know, they're the Asian house. He's like, "Do you ever want to find out what his name was? You just refer to him as the Asian house." I know. I was like, oh my God. It's okay. It's okay to identify somebody like that.
Yeah, that is so disingenuous. Like, you don't have a good argument then. Like,
right.
I had a guy that lived 3 doors down from me who was retarded, special needs, whatever, but was a grown man. And every day he would be out on the front lawn walking around. And it was one of those adult situations where the parents are taking care of an adult who with severe mental, and he would bring the garbage cans out. But if I was with my buddies and it was like, well, it's like 3 doors down on the, 5 doors down on the left, it'd be like neighbors with the retarded guy. And they're going to go, yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about. Like,
right. It's just a descriptor. It's just a descriptor.
Totally.
Like,
you know where the black family lives? It's next door to the black family.
Right.
No, back when I lived in Livonia, there was a house right next door to mine that was way out of place because it was 100% plucked out of Arizona. It had the tan stucco wall, the red tile roof. So that's how I told people where I lived, because I was right off Farmington Road and it was really hard to identify my house out of all these. So just, hey, look for the Spanish style house. I'm right next to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Worked every time.
Yeah. Just a way to kind of identify
with how descriptors work,
Right.
like that's how dumb in a court case. Like the Asian house. Yeah, we all know there's an Asian family. They don't live on every house on the block.
There's a Mexican family in that house too.
You're able to point it out and makes sense.
Right.
So I was reading this article in the LA Times back from 2016 by Jane Shukishimaya or something. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She says it's now politically incorrect to use the word Oriental, and this now has the force of law. President Obama recently signed a bill prohibiting use of the term in all federal documents. So his gripe is in 97. It wasn't until 2015 that Obama went, stop using Oriental as a word in federal documents. Almost 10 years later after this, crime against society. Representative Grace Meng, New York Congresswoman who sponsored this legislation, exulted that at long last, this insulting and outdated term will be gone for good. As an Oriental, I am bemused. Apparently, Asians are supposed to feel demeaned if someone refers to us as Orientals, but good luck finding a single Asian American who has ever had the word spat at them in anger. Most Asian Americans have had racist epithets hurled at them at one time or another: chink, slant eye, gook, nip, zipperhead. But Oriental isn't in the canon. And why should it be? Literally, it means of the Orient or of the East, as opposed to of the Occident or of the West. Last I checked, geographic origin is not a slur. If it were, it would be wrong to label people from Mississippi as Southerners. Of course, I understand that some insults have benign origins. Jap, for example, is simply shortening of the word Japanese. But that one stings, as 127,000 Japanese were carted off to internment camps during World War II. Clearly, context is important, and this was meant as an insult. The problem with Oriental, San Francisco columnist Jeff Yang told NPR, is that when you think about it, the term feels freighted with luggage. It's a term which you can't think of without having that sort of the smell of incense and the sound of gong kind of in your head. It makes Asian sound exotic because it was a circulation at the time when exoticizing stereotypes was prevalent. A funny thing I noticed is that my Caucasian colleagues, not my Asian colleagues, are most eager to remove Oriental from public discourse. So here come all the white heroes to save the day, is what this sounds like. So this researcher, Erica Lee in Minnesota, author of The Making of Asian American, explanation to NBC News. In the U.S., the term Oriental has been used to reinforce the idea that Asians were and are forever foreign and could never become American. These ideas help to justify immigration exclusion, racial discrimination, and violence. Blah, blah, blah. Continued use of the term perpetuates inequality, disrespect, and stereotypes. I don't see it that way, this author says from the LA Times. I see self-righteous, fragile egos eager to find offense where none is intended. A wave of anti-Oriental discrimination is not sweeping the country. Besides, the term has been steadily falling out of circulation since the 50s. It's mainly used today by older Asians and the proprietors of hundreds, if not thousands, of restaurants, hotels, shops, organizations with Oriental in their name. The well-intentioned meddlers will create trouble for exactly the population they want to be offended. In my field, the word Oriental appears in the title of 17 of the 58 accredited graduate level schools, 21 of the 33 state associations, and 8 of the 24 national associations. Though the new federal legislation does not require us to act, it has increased pressure to toe the politically correct line. Are we really going to waste time, energy, and millions of dollars to rebrand our entire discipline, rename our schools and boards, redesign corporate identities, websites, and publications, and send out thousands of revised diplomas, all to wipe away an insult that doesn't exist? It goes on and on. It's
yes,
just
that's
hilarious.
exactly what. Yeah, that's exactly what they want you to do.
Yeah, again, more people looking for victimhood anywhere they can get it.
So tiring.
Anywhere. Sorry, Steve Park. I don't know that this one's going to land. I mean, I know, that's how people are making their bones nowadays is extreme victimhood wherever. But, I don't know. I agree with the author. Like, it's not even something we grew up really using, Oriental. Like, certainly never meant as offense. Maybe whatever. Treat people with respect. But, just
So
hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. I know you got to go, Ames.
All righty. Yeah, I got to go do some small talk.
Yeah, have fun. Uh-oh.
Thanks.
Sorry, I was getting a performance alert. We'll wrap it up there. But
Okay.
be back tomorrow. Thank you. You're
Yes.
going to be back home tomorrow, right?
I will be. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Ames.
Yep.
Hey, no problem.
And we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Good luck, Ames, for the
Thanks.
rest of the day. And we'll see you all tomorrow.